So thank you for being here. I know it's early and it's the last day, so everybody's tired maybe. Today I'm going to talk about PowerShell Universal in real life. On Monday, I delivered another talk about PowerShell Universal that was about creating REST APIs. So now I'm going to show you what I did for a customer of mine. And this project works in production. But it's not exactly this project because the project has been done 3 years ago. And it was PowerShell Universal version 1 at that time. So I had to adapt it a little bit to make it work with PowerShell Universal version 4. So I haven't spent too much time making the security works as it used to work when it was installed in the company. So let's continue. Thanks first to our sponsors. Without them, this event would have been a success. So thank you. My name is Arnaud Petitjean. I'm French, as you may assume, because of my accent. I've been a PowerShell trainer and a PowerShell consultant since 2007. I was a PowerShell MVP for 10 years. I created the French-speaking PowerShell community in France back in 2006. PowerShell-scripting.com, and I started my own company, Start Scripting. And I'm also the CTO of a startup I created with some surgeons, and we develop software for the medical industry. So this is my bibliography. So I wrote several books in French, mostly in French, and I participated to 2 books in English. Well, let's go back to the topic. So, what was my customer's needs? So my customer wanted to replace an old desktop notification tool. And because his tool didn't work with Windows 10, and they had to find another solution. They want to be able to notify any user anywhere in the world on their desktop. My customer wanted to have a big floating button with a color and with a number inside of it that indicate the number of notification to read. The tool need to be interoperable. That means he had to provide a REST API to be automated and connected to any software. What they wanted to do is when there is a ticket created in the IT system, they were using ServiceNow. They wanted to connect ServiceNow and automatically create notifications to the right IT team. So we did it. And the tool worked so well that they decided to open it to the whole company and to every services. And besides the REST API, the new tool needed to have a GUI because it's sometimes easier to have a GUI to create new notifications. And notification should be bilingual, so I had to manage a thing to be able to display English and French together on the same page, the same window. Okay, so we made a proof of concept for several weeks because we didn't know which architecture to choose, which tools. So we started evaluating Burnt Toast, which is an interesting tool that shows toast on Windows. But Burnt Toast the notification cannot be permanent. At some point, they disappear, and it didn't match the needs of my customer. They preferred a custom button, like you can see here. This is the button we ended to create, and they wanted to have some customization in the window they could display on the screen of the users. So quickly we moved to a custom button and some custom windows. I'm going to show you in a minute. And another topic was about what's the best architecture. Is it to have an agentless solution where we can use WinRM to generate toasts or notifications on the client side? Or is it better to have agents on a client, like a PowerShell script, that will collect and interact with a web service to get a notification? So we assessed the two architectures, and we decided that agents on the clients is the best solution. So here is general architecture of the solution. So on your left, this is the client machine, any regular user. On the right, you have the administration machine, computer, which is the machine of the administrator of the solution. Let's call this solution PS notification. So the guy that used this machine is able to register notifications because on the middle you see a notification agent, which is finally a REST API. And this guy should also be able to have a GUI in his browser, ideally to create new notifications. Of course, the client machines interact with Active Directory because we are on a domain. And how it works is this way. The client machine send on a regular basis. It could be 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's up to you to decide how aggressive you want to be to get the new notification quickly. So the client send a get message, a get request to the notification endpoint. The notification endpoint is connected to a database. So we have a database in our solution, which is a LightDB database. It's a NoSQL database with two tables. One table to store the notification and another table to store the acknowledgement. Because anytime you get a notification, the system has just to return the ones that the user haven't seen. So this is why I had to create this acknowledgement database table. So the client send a get request to the endpoint. The endpoint queries the database, queries Active Directory to see if the client is in the right groups and if he needs this notification. Then the endpoint look at the acknowledgement DB to see if the notification is new or this one has already been acknowledged by the user, and then send back a JSON object to the client. The client displays the button, and the client is able to to get the notification and be informed. And when he click on it, there is another message that is sent to the acknowledgement endpoint with a post message to register that this user have seen the notification. Okay, so let's start with the demo. The agent I created on the client machine is all in PowerShell, of course, and it's basically a WPF application. So I'm gonna start it and see what happens. Oh, as you can see, there is a big button on the right, on the bottom of the screen, which is red. So there is probably something important to see. Oh, I have 5 notifications, you know, and I can move my button around my screen and place it where I want, because my client was a customer in the banking area, so he didn't want the pop-ups to show up directly on the screen. That's why they wanted a button. So the button has the color of the most important notification. We have 4 levels of notification. I can deliver information message, warning message, and alert level 1 and alert level 2. Level 2 are the most critical. That's why the button is in red. So for the moment, just click this one. Coronavirus information. Okay, let's see. Oh, so I have a problem with the resolution because of we are in a presentation, but you see the concept, and I can move the window where I want on my screen. And if I click close, you will see the number being decreased to 4. And you get the concept. So next, let's click this one, the red one, and see what happens. So this is, I have 2 columns because it is supposed to be a bilingual notification, French, English, or whatever language you want. So you have an icon, a title, and a logo, and also a link. And if I click on the link, I can be redirected wherever I want. So if I click close, as you can see, the button, the colors of the button have changed because there is no alert level 2 anymore. So the color takes the color of the most important notification, which is level 1. If I click on it, I can see the message, close, see that I have 2 notifications left, and I have the ability to acknowledge all the notifications with one click. But I can also go in the history bar to look at my client. I can pause the notification for 1 hour, 2 hours, 8 hours. I have a About section with more details just to show debugging information, what's server name, etc. So basically, this is what the application do. So it's all written in PowerShell. So you have the front is a WPF application, and the back it's all made with PowerShell and PowerShell Universal. So let's go and see how it works. So let's validate all the notification. Okay. let's go to the PowerShell Universal administration page. So here are our APIs, or our endpoints. As you can see, I have 14 of those. So if I click endpoints, I can see my endpoints. So I have some WAMI, which is a very basic endpoint, just to see in which credential, with which credentials the service is running. I have initialized notification DB route, which can create for me demo notification. That this way it's quick and I can start directly to show notification. So you can see delete route to delete the database to start from a new one. This is a post route that is the point of this route is to create new notifications. I have a notification all to get all notification. Acknowledge all acknowledgement to create acknowledgement, and some others to make some tests. So let's try it. Let's try it inside of PowerShell. So I'm going to show you how to create a notification. So I can, as I told you, I can create a notification in the GUI, but I can also do it with REST API. So let's try this. So here I'm doing a get. I'm sending a get message to notification all in order to get all my notifications. So I have 10 in my database. I can display them. So these are PowerShell objects. I can format them as a table. So I have 10 notifications registered, but I have only seen a few of those because I wasn't in the target group, because my group is IT, and there are other notifications for different groups, and notifications are location-based. So I'm in Paris, but I could be anywhere in the world, and the solution manage continents. I could say, hey, I want to send a notification to North America, and if I'm located in Boston, I will receive the notification. So now I can show you this one, how to get the acknowledgements, just to see what's there in the table. So I acknowledged 5 notifications, and as you can see, it was on my computer, and every acknowledgement has a timestamp. This way I can assess when the user has seen the notification. We could create statistics to see how long after the notification has been sent the user sees the notifications. That could be done easily. So as my client wasn't really familiar with using REST APIs, I also wrote a wrapper module and created some functions to ease the creation of notifications. So let's try it. So first, I have to initialize some variables. Then I can test the server connectivity. As you can see, we are using HTTPS protocol on port 443 with certificate server authentication. This way, all the calls to the web APIs are encrypted over HTTPS. So let's see. Let's use this one. Get PS notification all is the command that wraps basically this API call. Instead of using REST methods, I can use get PS notification. It's the same, but it's easier for users that are not aware of using APIs. So I can create a new notification. So let's do it this way. So I'm using a hash table. And now I can either use invoke REST method or splat the hash table with new notification, new PS notification. It's pretty weird, but and pretty long. And as you can see, I have now my notification just appeared on my desktop. And this is what I've just created. Okay. I can create another one with alert level 1, but I think you got the idea. Okay. So, any question for now? Do you want to see some codes? Okay, so I'm going to show you how it works in the endpoints. So, yes, let's see this one, get notification all. So I could just display the code here, but it's quite small. Expand left. Oh yes, that's better. Or I could open it in Visual Studio Code. So we are connecting to the server, to the C drive. PowerShell Universal is installed in the PowerShell Universal folder, but this folder stores all the configuration. So in the repository, I can find my dashboards and different PowerShell files, and the endpoints.ps1 file is the one that contains the code of my APIs. So this is the code for my API. So it's 2045 lines, but I have a module on my server because let's see, let's go to post. Okay, let's see the post notification. So whenever somebody which is allowed to call the endpoint, touch the endpoint, this is the code what is executed. So it checks if there is a registry key that is on. This way, if the enable post API logging registry key is there, the server will write some events in the event logs to provide some information of who created the notification. So I'm using, this was the older name of my commands. So set PS notification DB environment variable. I set my variable. I get all the data passed through the body with invoke rest method is stored in a $body variable. So I have to convert it from JSON and I get an object. And then I can use this object to create the notification. So here I create a link if there is a link. And I just split all the body to the new notification command, and that will register the notification in the database. So let's look at the module. So the module, as usual, on the server is stored in the Windows PowerShell module directory. And this is the module that the endpoint is using to create a notification. So first, it resolves the site where the user is based to be able to see if the notification should be displayed or not. If the user is in Europe, he has to display all the notification for the European part. I created some classes. This one is to interact with a database, so I can register a new notification with a register method. And I use a leaddb database with use leaddb database, and I add some data to the database. I have another method to enable the notification or to disable the notifications, because sometimes you want to create a notification but not to enable it right now. So this is all my code. And at the end of my code, after the class declaration, I created the functions that wrap the classes to ease the user to create and get notification with PowerShell commands. So get notification basically will just instantiate the class and use the get notification method. Okay, so this is on the server side, and now let's look at on the client side to see the code. So here is my agent, all in PowerShell. So it's, as you can see, almost 1,000 lines. But I have also another module that is there to display the pop-ups. So this is a WPF application. So as you can see, I'm loading some assemblies for WPF. here are some tricks with accented characters, because it's always a nightmare when dealing with accented characters. Yes? I have a question. How do I, so the question is, how do I run this application in the user context, right? It's the script, the machines are configured to run the script at the loading time when the user opens the sessions. It could be my client were using a dedicated software for this, AppSense, but you can use it. You can use maybe a GPO, I think. But we considered creating an exe file and running it as a service, but as a service, it wouldn't have been run with the user credentials. So, as you understood, the local agent runs with a user credential to be able to get the notification for this specific user. So I have a get client notification, get client location to get the location of the client, and I have this function load XML because my pop-ups are all XAML. I'm gonna show you in a minute. This is a menu item. For, you know, when you click on the button, a pop-up menu appears. So I created this menu. Yes, I also .source a function which contains the window declaration definition. So let me show you. So this is the function new WPF message box that creates the boxes, the message you can see. I took the code from a guy which name is Trevor Jones, and he has a blog post on how to create a customizable WPF message box for PowerShell. So I took his code, and this is a very good module to display pop-ups and configure them. I had just to adapt it to be able to display two languages, French and English, and to insert links also. But that was a good beginning. And I have also the XAML I can show you. So this is the button. It's 200 lines of XAML just to display a button. But this is basically a form which is transparent, and the button is just some circles with gradients. Okay, I think I'm done. Do you have any questions? Yes?
What made you decide to display messages both in English and in French versus localizing them?
Because it was my client's needs. Sorry. The question is, why should I have two messages in my notifications instead of using localization system? That is a good question, but my clients wanted to have both languages, so I did it. Yes?
What other things did you need other than the API itself? So authentication and some other stuff you were done, or that part was just for the API and then the front-end part was the
So the question is, if I understood well, how works basically the authentication on the client side? And the universal. Oh, yes. I haven't showed you that, but the clients are authenticated with Windows authentication, and I configured PowerShell Universal to handle that. And let's see, I have an endpoint. I created an endpoint to show you, which is /identity. If you edit it, so I'm displaying a $identity variable which contains who you are. So let's try it. Yes, here I'm unauthorized because I haven't used the use default credentials. So here I am authorized because I'm PowerShell administrator. Yes, because that's kind of weird because normally it should have display Arnaud instead of administrator. But anyway, there is some internal mechanism of PowerShell Universal that can check who you are. And you have also other variables like claim that contains all the groups you are included on. So you can check on the API side if you are a member of some groups and to get access to the API or not. And another thing I haven't showed you is the GUI, because like I said, my client wanted a GUI, so I built a GUI over. So this is the one PS notification. So hello notification was his previous name. So this is a basic PowerShell Universal web application. I have a menu on the left with some icons on each entry. I can create a new notification right there or manage existing notifications. I can have some diagnostics. So these are the notifications that are already on my database. So it's not very readable because there are lots of text in the content English and content French. But if I click the plus sign, I can create a new notification. So this is alert level 2, PSConfEU closing session. Don't miss the Gael's speech at 3 p.m. today. So I can create a link. If I click next, who are the recipients of my notification? So it could be any place in the world or any continent, Europe. Let's say we want to target every places in the world, and I can filter on some groups. So let's say it's only for the IT guys because they are the only ones that are interested in the PowerShell conference. So next, so there is a little bug I have to fix. I can select the start date from which the notification will be displayed and an end date. So let's say, so as you can see, I have a date picker. And I can say my notification will be valid until next week. If I click next, normally this step is supposed to display the notification to validate all the fields and be able to go back, but it's not completely implemented. If I click finish, the notification is registered and the button is there. Other questions? We have 5 minutes left. Yes?
Silly question. How do you, for the locations, how do you map them?
No, it's the client. I have a function. Sorry. The question is, how can I assess the location of the client? The assessment is done locally on the client machine. I have an intern algorithm that based on the IP address of the machine, based on the name of the machine, it assesses where the user is, and if it's a VM, it's a physical machine. And then the client, when the client calls the API, sends the location to the API. So that's it. Yes?
This PowerShell Universal site, like dashboard, is that hosted on each client's machine or is it hosted like behind IIS?
So the question is how the application server is hosted, right? In my demo, this is hosted on a virtual machine. This is installed on a Windows Server 2022. So you can do this. You can. Adam Driscoll provides a Docker container if you want to host it in Azure or AWS. A Docker container running on a Linux machine. You can also install PowerShell Universal on the Mac and Linux for the backend. So it's very flexible. Does it? Okay. We have time for a few other questions. Yes?
The universal environment where the web service is running, did you have to consider any things regarding performance?
I'm not sure to get the question. Could you repeat it again, please?
The universal web service running the web service for all those REST calls. This is running in the PowerShell environment.
Yes.
Configured in PowerShell Universal, as far as I know.
Yes, exactly.
Consider for performance, how to run that environment, or the settings for that environment.
So the question is performance-wise, how do you ensure your endpoints run quickly, the quickest as possible? This is your question. To have quick endpoints, the best is using PowerShell Core, PowerShell 7, of course. You can, for each service you host in PowerShell Universal, you can say which environment you want. So for my endpoints, for example, if I take this one, I created a dedicated environment, PS notification. So this environment is, so let's see, PS notification environment. So it says to use PowerShell 7 and to load Active Directory module, my notification module, and LDBC module, which is the one I use to interact with LeadDB database. So this is how you can do with PowerShell Universal, and you can specify an environment for each API, for each endpoint, and for each web application. My application PS notification also runs in the same environment. So to have the best performance, it's recommended to use PowerShell 7, of course. So, time is up. Thank you for attending my session. Have a good day. And if you have any questions,